So, Terry, you're a commercial mortgage banker, and in your most recent Forbes.com article, you talked about how this is actually the most dangerous time to buy an apartment building just about anywhere.
Okay, I did actually use the word dangerous, but I did say that almost all multifamily properties are overpriced today. If you decide you absolutely have to have one at today's insanely high prices, you absolutely must do it intelligently.
Right. Okay. So maybe it's not dangerous, but overpriced can certainly feel that way. How overpriced are we talking about? And shouldn't buyers just kind of back off and wait for the prices to come down? Oh, and what can a buyer do to purchase an overpriced apartment building today and still make the right moves?
Okay, well, I've never seen anything like this. Today's market is insane, as I assume it's a good word. We're seeing many C class properties, which could be 35, maybe even 40 years old, priced in the low five cap range. They're going for the same price as many newer, much better amenity B class properties. Worse yet, you often have to put more like 40% down today, where pre-COVID, a year and a half ago, you could easily put 25% down to cash flow the exact same property and get that loan that you want. So that's what's going on.
Well, seriously, it doesn't sound good. So how do we get here? How did this happen?
This market was created by the perfect storm. The coronavirus recession caused few homes to be put on the market, and with almost no home starts being built at the same time, this pushed more people into the rental market. This caused multifamily occupancy to reach an all-time high, and at the same time, new multifamily starts also ceased to exist. What's going on now? It's created a seller's market for multifamily properties. Buying today, though, can still make sense as long as you can raise rents within 2 years, as property values and profits will almost certainly go up during this time frame. In this video, I'm going to go over 6 tested cutting-edge maneuvers from my book for buying apartment buildings today intelligently. And stick around. At the end of the video, I will be giving you a secret cutting-edge strategy on where to look for better priced apartment buildings that will give you a much better cash-on-cash return in this high-priced market.
So, Terry, what are these six cutting edge maneuvers for buying overpriced apartment buildings intelligently, as you say, and safely in today's market?
Okay, well, let's start with cutting edge maneuver number 1. Choose a property in a good neighborhood closer to home. This is so you could check on it more often if something goes wrong. Makes sense, doesn't it? Most importantly, you know the market because you live there, and even better, are likely to know professionals who also live there and will watch your back. We're talking about trusted real estate brokers, bankers, property managers, and contractors. Most important, buying in a good neighborhood ensures that tenants are more likely to pay the rent. You're going to get better employed tenants there. They have better jobs.
Well, that makes sense. But why do renters in better neighborhoods pay the rent during tough economic times like a recession?
Okay, well, they're not only do they have better jobs, as I just mentioned, but they also have savings, and they just have more
Mm,
opportunities. They're more likely to be able to work at home remotely, which more people seem to want to do today. So,
great
okay,
point.
well, let's go into cutting edge maneuver number 2. Don't take shortcuts with due diligence. Just don't do that. With such low returns today, you absolutely cannot afford to make any mistakes on the property's net operating income, occupancy, tenant quality, and physical condition. Be sure to get the last 3 years of operating statements and the past 12 trailing months of rent rolls. You then want to do what's called a rent collection report. You're going to compare those 12 rent rolls with the last 12 months of operating statements, showing that there's not any discrepancies. If there are shortages showing on the operating statements, it means that there's people not paying the rent. Just because a tenant is on the rent roll doesn't mean they're paying the rent. Lastly, even if you're getting an inspection done, which you certainly will be doing, walk every unit and do it with a contractor. You're going to be surprised how many repairs you're going to catch that even the inspector missed.
Wow. Okay, so that level of due diligence kind of sounds like you may not trust the seller or the listing agent. Are they going to be upset if you ask for all of that?
Who cares? They might be, but you need to do this because it's just going to be something certainly that's going to come up and bite you if you don't. You could say that your lender is requesting all this because lenders certainly do. We do. And you're going to need to collect all that if you want to make sure all the tenants on the rent roll are paying the rent. Okay,
Okay.
let's get into cutting edge maneuver number 3. Don't over leverage and make sure you can break even at 75% occupancy. During the Great Recession of 2008, my clients that put 25% down or more and could break even at 75% occupancy after paying all expenses and the mortgage payment just did not lose those properties. So you're going to need to do a 2-year pro forma based on as many facts as you can muster to demonstrate this.
Wow. In today's market with prices so high, is 25% down realistic?
Great question, Kriya. If you're buying an apartment building today that has a 6 cap or lower, you will most likely have to put more like maybe 30% down. And because it's going to take that much to probably cash flow the loan. There is just too many sellers and realtors over promising and under delivering as far as the cash flow comes. And so that's why you want to collect not only today's financials, but historical financials as well.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get into cutting edge maneuver number 4. Choose inexpensive value adds. It's almost impossible today to find a rental property that needs major rehab that is not overpriced. Choose properties that, based on their current condition, have under market rents and that can be raised as soon as possible, and expenses that also could be lowered, like insurance. Maybe check to see if the taxes can be lowered as well. Then stick with inexpensive cosmetic upgrades like paint, new floor covering, new landscaping, striping the parking lot, and don't forget rebranding. That's a really good one.
Well, that's my favorite, I love the rebranding, but what does that mean to you through your lens? What does a rebrand entail?
Okay, well, not all apartment complexes are going to need this, but some will clearly need a better name, a new look, new signage, a new website, something that really rocks, and even new management. Okay, let's get into cutting edge maneuver number 5. Choose the lowest payment financing you could find. This is a must to increase your cash on cash return until you could raise rents and lower expenses, which can actually take up to 2 years. But fortunately, right now, rents, like last year, they went up over 10% nationally. So it should happen even faster. So this is the one time choosing a shorter term loan with the lowest payments can actually make sense. If you could get an interest-only loan, all the better.
Okay, but what loan programs have interest-only loans?
Well, I can tell you that banks, they hate interest-only. They certainly don't offer it. But Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, those are called the agency loans, CMBS and other Wall Street lenders, and for that matter, private money, hard money, nobody wants to go there, but they have from 2 to 5 years of interest-only payments. Okay, let's get into cutting edge maneuver number 6. Have plenty of working capital and additional sources of income to cushion you. This is so important. If you're going to overpay for a multifamily property today, you must have extra money for a rainy day fund, just to cover you until, if nothing else, until it becomes more profitable, and just in case there's a recession.
Okay, Terry, so I'm on the edge of my seat. What is that secret cutting edge strategy to where to look for better priced apartment buildings that can give us a much better cash on cash return in this overpriced market?
Look, in tertiary markets, I'm talking about small towns that are within an hour's drive of a large city. These still have much higher cap rates today, with more and more people choosing to work remotely at home. Since the great pandemic, apartment buildings in these small towns offer an opportunity to get out of the rat race for these tenants. These properties are amazingly full, with people paying the rent at much higher rents and paying on time today.
Well, that makes perfect sense, and I've observed that happening in my own area. So that's been something that we've been thinking about doing as well. Thank you, Terry. These really are cutting edge maneuvers for today's economy. And if you liked this video, don't be shy. Leave us a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment. And if there's something you'd like Terry to do a video on, let us know. And we'll see you the next time. Thank you.